Now I want to search for the documents that I actually just finished scanning. So all I need to do is go ahead and start searching for the documents. Top left-hand corner. I don't need to change out of any program or anything. I simply go in the same program, identify.web, top left-hand corner. KWYK actually stands for key what you know. You type exactly whatever information that you know about whatever document you're trying to find, and it will go out and search for that values. Account number, name, social, tax ID, date range, anything that was being used to index or label that document, that's what you can use to pull up your information. So let's try it. KWYK, quick search. I click on it. It actually comes up just like Google does. One line, and this is where I simply type in whatever I'm trying to find. What was the loan number that I was trying to find? It's 8675, and I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. And what it's basically doing is, if you notice off to the right hand side, the little circle, it's actually trying to find whatever values are out there for whatever I just typed in. In this case, I typed in 8675. Well, there's different columns there. Account number. There are account numbers that start with 8675. Maybe there's a dollar amount that has 8675 in it. Or maybe there's a branch number. Or maybe a date range. Or whatever values you're trying to find, it will let you know what your different choices are. 8675 is not there for a tax return or for tax ID, or maybe it might be the beginning of an address. It all depends on how you're set up. The norm is account numbers, names, socials, tax IDs, date or date ranges, type of document, whatever it is you're trying to find. In this case, account number. The account number I'm looking for is actually this one right here. 8675 30. Let me go ahead and keep typing in 3091, and I'll stop right there. It's doing its search, and now it's going to start narrowing it down even more. What did it come up to? Well, it came up with a little bit more information. If I type in the last digit, 5, to complete the account number, it should get rid of almost everything and probably just give me the options that are closest related to 8675309115. I want an account number that matches that. I click on it. Now keep in mind, I have not told the system what types of documents I want to see for that account number, so I'm getting a full view of everything that matches that account number. I want to look for the disclosure statement. As an example, I can just start typing it in. DIS. I am not typing the entire word. The system is smart enough to know and to show you only the values that start with DIS. In this case, disclosure statement. I click on disclosure statement. It narrows down my search exactly to disclosure statement for that account number. Now, just to show you how flexible it is, what I could really do is I could close one of these pills, whichever one has a red X next to it. If I close the account number pill, it gets rid of that. So I'm basically telling the system I want to see everybody's disclosure statement. It all depends on what you're looking for. Okay? So in this case, there aren't really many disclosure statements, just the one that we have in our demo here. So let me go ahead and get rid of disclosure statement. So what we did is, just to recap, I showed you all how to actually pull up a document by typing in an account number and then narrowing it down by putting in a document type. Well, what if you don't know the account number? How else can you find your documents? By name. John was the first name, I believe, of the one that we were just scanning. And here we go. First name, John. I click on John. Of course, this is going to bring up every single John in your system. So you have to be a little bit more flexible and understand that, okay, this is everyone called John. Narrow down your search. What was that person's last name? Doe. John Doe. I'm looking for John Doe. Okay, that narrows down just the people, but not the actual documents. Do you know the person's social security number? You could have done it just by social, not even worry about name. So again, you have the flexibility. I know I'm looking for deposit documents for John Doe. Type it in. Deposits. Application. I'm looking for application, not the application, but I want to narrow down by application, either loans or deposits or CIF. So now I'm currently looking at a list of all the documents in the deposits application for John Doe. I know exactly what type of document I want. I want John Doe's signature card. SIG. Just start typing it in, and I want document type. Signature card. Narrows down my search to just the signature cards for John Doe. Of course, we only got 3 here, but you would definitely narrow down your search if you did not know exactly the account number you were looking for. Let's try it a different way. Let's go back and do another search. Let's look by social security number. Now, the good thing by doing searches by social security number or tax ID, or even name for that matter, is you're really not doing a search inside of a specific application. So you're really doing a broad search across databases or across applications. So if you ever get this scenario, I need to get a copy of everything for John Doe in the system. Well, you simply just type in the person's name, and you're basically searching inside of loans, deposits, HR. If you have rights to see those documents, you'll get a complete list. So maybe that type of function might have to be done by an administrator or someone who has full rights to a lot of different applications. I'm going to go ahead and just start typing in a social security number here, and I'm going to stop right there. There's a couple social security numbers or tax IDs that begin with 1111. I want the one that has the 2 at the end of it. I pick and choose that one. I just narrowed down my search to, I want to see all the documents for anything that matches that social security number. In this case, it pulled up 62 items. Just like we did before, I can narrow down my search to an exact document if I wanted to. I want to see the boarding data sheet or the agreement to provide insurance. Simply type it in. AGREE. Agreement to provide insurance document. Document type. That's the type of document that I want. I click on it. I narrow down my search. Just like we did with the other documents, but we did it by account number. Doesn't matter how you do it. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do another type of search. So far we've been just searching for scanned images. Well, how do I search for reports? My institution gets reports sent to me on a nightly basis, like a general ledger report, or a trial balance, an NSF report, a list of opened and closed accounts. I want to look at that information. Well, we do the same type of search. Key, what you know. Well, what do I know? Well, I know that I'm looking for reports. So if I wanted to, I could go in and go ahead and just type in the word general, or ledger, or report, or daily, or monthly, anything that you know about the report that you're trying to find, and a date, and you will pull up that report for the day that you specify, or the date range. Okay, let's try it. General. I'm looking for the word general, or general ledger. It's called report keyword. I want to find every single report that has the word general in the title. Not necessarily inside of the report, but actually in the title of the document. So if we look at these 4 items here, general is in the title of every single one of those documents. They could be all the same. They could all be different. So far, it looks like there might be all different reports. Now, I can narrow down this search. Of course, if you were to do this in a live environment, you type in general, you're going to get a large amount of reports because you have not typed in a date. So let's type in a date that we want. I want the actual date of 3/3/2010. What are my choices? For date, I can do date hired or the hired date. I'm not looking for HR documents. Or close date. Not necessarily applies to reports. Storage date, I could look for all the reports with general that were stored on a specific day, but what does stored mean? Stored means when the documents were actually imported into our system and stored in our system. Most people don't really mind when the document was actually stored in the system. They're looking more for the date created, or what's the run date of the report? When was the report created itself? So that's what we're going to choose, date created. I click on date created, and then it narrows down the search to show me all the reports with the word general for a specific day, in this case 3/3/2010. Well, what am I looking for? Am I looking for anything inside of the report? Maybe $18.95, or maybe I'm looking for John Doe, but I'm just not sure what report it is. But I think it's in the general ledger report. I'm not sure. Well, how would we do that? Well, you just simply type in whatever you're searching for. If you're looking for a name, look at this. I'm typing in the word John. If we click on first name, that's going back to what we did before, looking for scanned images. So there's another title here called document text. That actually means that everything underneath that column of document text is actually inside of a report. Let's try something else. $18.45. If that value does exist inside of a report, there's document text again, it would actually be underneath this column here. You're looking for $100, you're looking for $20, but you're not sure what report it is. But you know generally what report it is. Maybe the general ledger, or maybe a couple other reports, or you know what? You could actually do a search across multiple date ranges. Say there's 400 reports. It might take a little bit longer, but you can search all 400 reports for $18.45 if you wanted to. You basically have to put in the parameter. So this is just a quick glance of how do you actually look for information inside of a report. Now, you will not be able to search for information inside of a scanned image. You can't look for a dollar amount or somebody's name inside of a scanned image. The full text indexing does not work that way. This is primarily for reports only. So let's actually get into what does the actual report look like. Well, this works just like the internet does. If you see an underlined item and it comes up blue, that normally means it's a link. It's a link to take you somewhere. In this case, it's a link to take you to the document. You click on it, it downloads it, and shows it to you on your screen. Just like any other program would probably give you the ability to print that file, to email that file, to zoom in, to zoom out, to flip through the individual pages. The same flexibility is here as well. You just have to have the rights to do a lot of those things I just mentioned. Like email. Do I have the rights to email? Do I have the rights to actually look at this document? If not, it's not even going to show up on my screen. In this case, I do have the rights to see this document. I'm looking at it. What can I do? Can I delete it? Can I modify it? Can I print it? All of these things have to do with rights. So again, this is just a real quick idea of how to actually pull up a report and look at it. Okay? Well, we're looking at the report. What if we were looking at the report and look at this report, top left-hand corner? This is a 95-page report. You know what? I'm looking for a specific officer code or a cash box number, or I'm looking for $18.95. I know it's in this report. I know it's in there somewhere. I just don't want to go through all 85 pages looking for that amount. Simple. All the way up at the top here, I can click up in the empty box here and type in what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 2008 as an example. I hit enter on the keyboard. It's automatically searching for any value that has 2008. If it doesn't find a value that matches exactly what I typed in, this is the result that you're going to get. Let's try it a different way. Let's type in 2008, 2008, period 1, period 00. I hit enter on the keyboard. It's searching. Remember, it's searching 100 or actually 95 different pages. Once it finds exactly what you typed in, it will go and find it for you. So that was an example of when you type it in one way and it doesn't find it, but you know it's there, try and type it in a different way. Remember, you have to type it in exactly the way it is. A good thing to remember is, especially if you're doing dollar amounts, type in the dollar amount with the commas and the decimals. More than likely your reports do have the commas and the decimal, they just don't have the dollar symbol in front of the value. Let's try one more. Let's type in the word name. I'm typing it in lowercase. I see it right there in my report in uppercase. It doesn't matter. The program is not case sensitive, so it should find every time it finds the word name. N-A-M-E. And right here, it found it one time, and it highlights it for you. If it finds those values multiple times throughout the entire report, say it finds it 100 times, well, how do I go forward to all the different times that it found that value? Up at the top here, these are my different links to go to the next search hit. I want to jump to the last hit. I want to go backwards one hit. Or I'm going to go to the beginning and start all over again. So it's very flexible here. Sometimes when you're looking at a report and you notice that your balancing is off, or maybe you're a loan officer and you're responsible for looking at this report every single day, but wouldn't it be nice if you could actually sit there and look at your report and highlight all the different people that you're going to be calling today or the next day or working on over the next week or so, and put notes next to every single one of their names. You can do that. You simply have to have the rights to do so. Okay? Well, how do we do that? Well, in this case, I do have the rights, so up at the top here, I have the ability to add a sticky note. I have the ability to do an ellipsis. Well, what does that mean? All I'm doing is I'm clicking on it and using my left mouse button, and I'm going to circle or draw a box around what I want to circle. I let go of the mouse, and it adds that. If you put it in the wrong location, move it out of the way. Make it bigger, make it smaller. I'm just using my left mouse button to drag the box to make it bigger or smaller. I can do the same thing with a rectangle. I want to put a rectangle around something. I can do that. I want to highlight something. I can go to highlight. Click on that, and I can highlight something. Highlight the customer I'm going to be calling. I can click on sticky note. Once you click on sticky note, then you have the ability to add that note anywhere you want to. You make that box as big or as small as you want. Preferably put it in a location on the report where there's blank space. What do you want to say inside of your note? Double click inside the note with your left mouse button and type away. Click outside the box. You don't have to remember to save your note. It's automatically saved for you, just simply by clicking outside the box. Now, here's some more security. I do have the rights to do this. I have the rights to add everything we just did. Now, someone who has the rights to see this report might not have the rights to see my notes. It's all a matter of rights. Do you have the rights to see it? Okay, maybe you can see it. Do you have the rights to edit or add to or move that note? So can you modify notes? You either have it or you don't. Nothing is saved on your actual computer. So you can't go to someone's computer that has the administrative rights and think that since you're on their machine, you're going to assume their rights. That case is not true. You assume the rights based on you as a user. The rights follow you wherever you go as a person, not on the individual machine. Okay, well, let's just say for training purposes here, I'm looking at a bunch of reports here. They got notes all over the report. I can't see the data because someone accidentally made a mistake and added the note on top of data that's important to me. I need to see the data. Well, you don't have the rights to move that note out of the way, but what you do have is the ability to hide all of the annotations. So it kind of cleans your report and kind of takes away everything so you can actually do what you need to do with this report. Now, I know since we started this, we were actually talking about adding annotations to these reports. You can actually add annotations to both reports and scanned images. You just have to have the rights to do so. So here we're just looking at a report. How do we pull it up? Well, we pulled it up just as a recap here. We pulled it up by typing in the word general. And then we typed in a date or a date range. You can also do that. Let's go ahead and get out of this report. Let's do another search. Let's go back to our scanned images and let's look at a couple of other things that we can do with our scanned images. Remember, we don't need to close anything out. We simply go back and do another search. Top left-hand corner, quick search. Click on quick search or key what you know and type in what you're looking for. I remember the social security number. Type it in, 11111. I think that's what it is. It comes up, it does a search for you, shows you all the values that match whatever you typed in, and yes, this is the social security number I wanted, the one ending in 2. Showing me a complete list of every single document that matches that social security number, regardless of what database or application it's in. I'm looking at a document, well, which one do I want to look at? Agreement to provide insurance. I click on it. It loads it up just like it did with the reports. This is the same place you can go in and you can print this if you have the rights. You can add annotations to it if you have the rights. But the main thing I wanted to show everyone here is off to the right hand side. Once it downloads that image, all the way on the right hand side you have an area called Related Documents. This is going to show you all of the related documents to the document on the left hand side. So you can really do a search within a search. I'm looking at the residential loan application, or I want to look at the agreement provides insurance. Well, do you have the rights to see other types of documents? Off to the right hand side, I have a list of other documents I can look at. I want to look at the loan checklist. Click on loan checklist on the right hand side. Choose which one you want. You don't have to go backwards and do a brand new search. You're really doing a search within a search. Left hand side, the new document is going to be displayed on the screen. My related documents are still the same on the right hand side. You are only going to see the related documents that you have rights to see. Again, I'm logged on as administrator. I do have the rights to go from the loan checklist to a signature card. Most people won't have those rights, but it all depends on how you're set up. How is your rights set up? How are you configured? Let's talk a little bit about documents that are scanned without a barcode. Let's see if we can go to a document that does not have a barcode on it. Let's go to the W-9. Under Related Documents, I'm going to choose a specific document here. I click on it on the right hand side. It's going to display it to me on the left hand side. And the scenario that I wanted to go over here is, what if this document is accidentally labeled incorrectly? I know this is the W-9. Up at the top here it says W-9. But there may be cases that you all run into where those two do not match. Well, what happens is somebody accidentally labeled that document incorrectly when they were indexing or labeling that document. I do have the rights to fix it. I just have to fix it. So let me go ahead and go over to the panels on the right hand side. Right now I'm looking at the related documents panel. I don't want to do this here. I want to go to the indexing panel. Again, you have to have the rights to do this. Once you click on the indexing panel, all the way on the left hand side of the indexing panel, if I have the rights, I can click on edit and I can choose what I want to edit about this document. What is wrong about this document? We could say that the account type or the document type was wrong. This list that you see here, this is the list that comes from you, the customer. You provide to us a list of all the different possible types of documents you all want to scan that are non-barcoded. Well, what type of document are we looking at? Let's just say for training purposes, we're looking at the boarding data sheet. We click on it, and you would click on the green check mark, and it would change the way that this document is labeled in the system. We don't need to change anything else, like the account number or the social or the tax ID, but just the document type, because that was the part that was labeled incorrectly. Just keep in mind you have to have the rights to do the changing of the index values. In this case, we're going to go ahead and cancel the changes. We don't want to make any changes here because for training purposes, this document actually was labeled correctly. Okay, we're just finishing up talking about the indexing of documents and changing the indexing values if a document is labeled incorrectly. So let's go ahead and move on to something different here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this document screen here. And let's talk a little bit about this list that we're looking at right in front of us. This is what is called the document list view, okay, or the details screen here of the list of all the documents. Remember, I just did a search by social security number. So how would I quickly go in and look at all these different types of documents without having to open up each document individually and then close it if that's not the document I'm looking for? Here's a really neat trick. Simply click on the right hand side. There's a magnifying glass. Click on it. What this does is it kind of brings into focus that document like a large thumbnail. It downloads it, shows it to you on the screen, and what you can do after this is once you're looking at the document, if that's not the document you want, click on the document again and it puts it right back where it got it from. That's one way of doing it. Let's go ahead and open it up again. You click on the magnifying glass again, it downloads it, shows it to you on the screen. Now I'm not touching the mouse, but what I can actually do is use the arrows on the keyboard. I'm clicking on the down arrow on the keyboard and it actually takes me to the next document. Click on it again and it keeps loading all the next documents one after another. Again, keep in mind this is just a quick view of the document. From here you cannot print, rotate, fax, email, delete, or anything like that. This is just like a small thumbnail view of it. If you really want to get into the full view mode of the document, just simply click on the link on the left hand side and it'll download that document in full view mode. Okay, so let me go and close on this document here. I click on it, it closes the document. Here's another trick that you can do. Remember, we're looking here at a list of documents. Well, wouldn't it be nice if I could view all of these documents as thumbnails? Let's look at how many we got here. We have 63 different items. I click on the thumbnail view. It's downloading all of these documents as a thumbnail. And it's going to display 62 thumbnails on my screen. From here, I'm going to be able to look at all these documents and decide which one I want. Click on the actual image itself. It brings it into a larger thumbnail right in front of you. You decide if this is the one that you want to look at. If not, just like we did before, we can use the arrows, and I'm clicking on the arrow that's pointing to the right. And I can download and look at the next one. Click again, and I can download the next one, so on and so forth. Or if you go too far, you hit the arrow pointing to the left and you go backwards. So you can go forwards and backwards in your thumbnail view. Clicking on the document again just like we did before, brings it into focus. If that's not the document you want, you click it again, and it just puts it right back to where it got it from. Okay, so we're just looking at these documents in thumbnail view, and there's also other things that we can do here. If you look to the left of the actual document title, every single one of these has an I next to it. This is for information. Information about the actual document. How was this document labeled? What's the account number? The customer number in this case. The customer type. The first name, the last name. Maybe there's a middle initial or a status, the tax ID. You can't really change any of these values, but it's nice to see how this document was labeled. So if you accidentally run across this document and you're like, oh, now I know why I could never find this document. It's labeled incorrectly. I can definitely fix it if I have the rights to do so. Once you're finished looking at the list of the documents, if you want to do another search, just like we did before, all we need to do is click top left-hand corner, key what you know, and type in another value if you wanted to do something else. But what we're going to show you next is the ability to import a document. There's a lot of times, I can tell you how many times customers ask me, how can I actually import a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet? Or I get my tax returns sent to me all the time from my customers, and we print it out and we give it to our scanning department to scan. Well, you're really defeating the purpose of having that document in electronic format to begin with, because you're printing it out and then scanning it right back into electronic format. So here's an easier way of doing it. First off, you need to have the rights to do this. You have to have the rights to import a document. Well, how do you import a document? On the left-hand side, where it says from scanner, we're not going to import a document from scanning it. We're actually going to import it from file. Click on from file. This portion of the system is actually just like sending an email in Outlook. Everyone knows in Outlook, if you want to attach something to an email to send it to somebody, you simply click on the little picture of the paperclip and then go and find what file you want to attach to your email. The same concept here. What file do you want to import into the system? Go and find it, grab it, and bring it into the system. So once you click on from file, it's going to give you different options. Where do you want to put it? What application do you want to assign it to? Well, maybe it's a tax return, or maybe it's a board report that we already did in Word. We just want to import it. Well, let's go ahead and do a document you want to bring into the loans database or the loans application. Think of the Add File button here as your paperclip in Outlook. You click on it, go and find the document that you want to bring into the system. I want to bring in the certificate of existence, or whatever document you want. Now, granted, you can actually grab any document that you all have. A couple examples: Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, Adobe Acrobat files, voicemail, MP3s, DVD movies, any file that is out there, even scanned images. Maybe the appraiser's going out there and taking pictures of the house, and they email it to you. Grab that JPEG, grab that picture, the color picture, and import it, and assign it to wherever you want to assign it. By doing that, you're bypassing the scanning of the document. One less step to do. So this is the document I want to open and import into the system. We already grabbed it. Let's go ahead and upload this file. Click on Upload Files. This next screen that pops up should be very familiar. If you've been watching this demo since the beginning, you know that this is the next step after you scan. Well, we bypassed the scanning, so now we're ready to index these documents. What type of document are we looking at? Whatever it happens to be, you pick and choose from your list. We know what type of document this is. Remember, this list is the list that comes from you, the customer. You all tell us what types of documents you want to import or scan into the system. You could have like a correspondence one in there, or a letters, or a miscellaneous, or whatever you want to come up with. But what you cannot do is manually type in whatever document type you want to come up with. You have to choose from the given list. So, what account number do we want to assign to this document? We're going to stick with the same loan number we did before. 8675-30915. I hit enter on the keyboard. Remember that lookup field? It pulls in all the values for you, populates everything for you. We've just indexed this document. We're done. Click on the Save button, being the green check mark at the top. This document is now searchable once it goes away from my screen. It's actually being saved. Any location, any branch, any machine, as long as they have rights to get into our system, can now pull up that document if they have the rights. So you have to scan it, you have to index it, save it to the system, or import it, index it, and save it out to the system like we just did. Now it's available from any machine, any branch, as long as you have the rights to see that document. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about searching for reports. But sometimes you all might be searching for the same reports every single day. So what we can do is we can actually grab a list of your favorite reports and put them together in what's called a smart folder. A smart folder is exactly that. You just have a folder which you assign a name to it, like daily, or weekly, or monthly. And inside of that folder, say called daily, you have a list of all of your daily reports. Simple. You just have to set it up. You set it up from whatever machine you want. And that name or that smart folder gets assigned to you as a person. Nothing gets saved on the actual machine. So how does that work? All we really need to do is do a search for the reports that you want. Let's do a quick search. Top left-hand corner, just like we've been doing for searching for our loan documents that we scanned. In this case, what we want to do is we want to do a quick search for reports. So probably the first thing I would want to do is tell it that I want to look for reports. Type in reports. I'm looking for application. I want to search inside the application called reports. Once I decide that, what types of reports am I looking for? The main thing here is you need to know what the code is for your report. Give you an example. AH_clear. Right here where it says document type, this is the code assigned to that specific report. It doesn't matter what processing center you all use. Every single person or company that processes reports for you has a unique identifier to the reports. If you don't know what those codes are, an easy thing to do is just type in yesterday's day. Like we could just type in, say, 3/7/10. Remember date created? This is going to show me a list of all the reports that were generated yesterday. I get this entire list of everything that was generated, and all I need to do is look at the document type. LN_late. Is this something that I'm responsible for? Look at the title of your document. More than likely, you're going to have a full description here of your report in the title. So look at your titles, look at your document types, write these down. Write down the document types for the ones that you're responsible for. You could create a cheat sheet that sounds like the following. You could have one column called daily, another one called weekly, and underneath each one, I'm just writing down LN_late. I need to see that report every day. So let me go ahead and put that in here. LN_late. I need to see that every day. document type. Click. I'm also responsible for AH_clear. Type it in. So as you see, the list went away because you're starting to narrow down your search. So you definitely want to write them all down first and then come in here and start plugging them in. AH_clear. Choose what you want. Again, you can have as many different reports inside this list as you want. This list belongs to you. If you're responsible for looking at 2 reports or 20 reports every day, it's just going to take a little bit longer, of course, if you're trying to pull up 20 reports as opposed to 2. So for training purposes here, I'm just going to have reports as my application. I'm done with my date, so let me go ahead and get rid of that. I have all the reports listed. In this case, I only have the 2. Now, how can I save this as a smart template or a smart folder? This is the main key here. What you need to do is you need to type in the following. Today -1 in uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. But the key thing is make sure you type in today -1 with parentheses around the entire thing you just typed in. Today -1 with parentheses. And choose date created. Once you do that, you save that as your template. This entire thing we're looking at, this is your template. Click on Add, Smart Folder, and you assign a name. What do you want to call this template? Daily, weekly, monthly, call it whatever you want. Do you want to make it visible to only yourself or to others? You pick and choose. If you want to assign it to, say, the public, but only certain people or certain groups, you can definitely do that if you have the rights to do so. If you're a smart folder administrator, then you can start playing around with the security of your smart folders. But for demo purposes here, we're just going to stick with private. Click on the green check mark, and we're done. You go to any machine that you want to, and this smart folder is going to follow you wherever you go. And it looks like I already have one called Daily Reports. So how do I open it up? Well, when you first log on to our system, the first thing that comes up is the same screen that we're used to seeing. You don't have to start searching for your reports. Simply go to your smart folders. What smart folder do you want to play with? I want to look for the one called Daily Reports. Click on it. And it will load up all of your reports that you're responsible for on a daily basis. Now, when I'm ready to do my search in the morning for my reports, I don't have to come up here to quick search and start searching for my reports. I simply go to Smart Folders. Click on the Smart Folders. This is where I'm going to see a list of all of the smart folders that I have access to. Is it public or is it a private smart folder? In this case, I want to look at my personal smart folder where all my reports are located. And remember, you can have as many smart folders as you want. They're all just going to be listed there. So when you click on the smart folder that you want, it downloads that smart folder and executes it. In this case, it brings up a list of all the reports that I wanted to see every single day. You don't have to sit there and decide what reports you want. Now, once you have the reports in front of you, you actually click on whatever report you want to, go in and look at it, look for $18.95, and do whatever you need to do to look at those reports. So, I know we covered a lot of things in this demo here, going from scanning a document or importing a document, indexing it, reading the barcode, labeling that document with the correct document type for your non-barcoded documents, And how do you change indexing values that for something that was labeled incorrectly? Or how do you add a note or an annotation? So there's a lot of different variation. You just keep in mind you have to have the rights to do all these different features. If you have the rights, no problem. So basically, let's go ahead and just recap one more time on the different variations on how do you search for a document. Remember, you can search by loan number or account number, like the signature card. You're looking for maybe the savings account. Well, what is the savings account number? Type it in. What is the name, the first name, or the last name? What's the date? Or what is the document type you're looking for? Or what is the social security number or the tax ID? You just have to have the rights to see those types of documents whenever you're searching for them. If you have any questions on anything that you saw in this demo, please feel free to call me. Again, my name is Troy Zapata. I'm the trainer for Identify, and you can reach me at 727-725-4507, extension 107. And I look forward to seeing and meeting you all at the next user conference in 2010.